Hello, lovely learners. Today we're going to be looking at decision making with particular reference to the if statement. The if statement is a conditional statement. It executes code only if a condition is met. In our daily lives, we are constantly making decisions. Let's look at some examples where we have to make a choice. If the weather forecast says that it will rain, I will wear my raincoat. If I won R1,000,000, I would buy an RTX 2080 Ti. If I'm given IT homework, I will do it. Consider what would happen if the conditions are not met. This is a Delphi syntax for the if statement. If the condition is true, I will execute the code. If the condition evaluates to false, I will not execute the code, so I will not come into my begin and end, and I will not execute the code. I will only execute the code if the condition is met. So if the condition is false, I can execute anything after the if structure. So what is a condition? Conditions are logical statements. It's based on some input and it uses operators to compare them. If the condition is met, it will return a value of true. If the condition is not met, it will evaluate and return a value of false. Let's look at some examples of logical statements. Is 1 plus 1 equal to 2? Yes, it's true. So the statement has a value of true. Is 3 times 4 greater than 15? So if you evaluate that statement, 3 times 4 is 12, then you're asking yourself the question, is 12 greater than 15? No, the statement will have a value of false. So some basic operators in Delphi, your addition operator, your multiplication operator, real division, that is your slash, your subtraction, div, and the last operator of basic operators is mod. I want to explain what div and mod does. So here you have your real division, and div performs integer division. You can only use div if the value to be tested is integer, and the result of this will always give you an integer result. Mod does the same thing. The value to be tested must be of data type integer, must be an integer value, and the result will always be an integer. So these are some examples of relational operators that will return a Boolean value of true or false based on what the value on either side of the operator is being compared. So in the first example, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Yes, it will return a value of true. I'm comparing two Boolean values in example 2. True equals true. So a Boolean value of true is compared to a Boolean value of true. Will return a value true. 1 minus 1, is it equal to 2 or is it equal to 1? What is the real value? So your answer is false. It will return a value of false. 4 divided by 2, it's performing real division, is equal to 2, it will return true. Using div, 9 div 2. 2 can go into 9 4 times. Our answer will be true. 10 div 3 is equal to 3. Yes, because 3 can go into 10 3 times. It will evaluate to true. My next example is using mod. 8 mod 2. So I am asking myself the question, can 2, or how many times can 2 go into 8? And 2 can go into 8 4 times. My remainder is 0 and not 1. So in this example, we're saying that is 8 mod 2 equals to 1? No. My answer is equal to 0. So in this example, it's going to return false. In the next example, 9 mod 3 is equal to 0. It will return a value of true. So let's evaluate the last example again. How many times can 3 go into 9? 3 times. My remainder is equal to 0. So mod, using mod, gives you the remainder. My remainder is equal to 0, and it evaluates to true. Some relational operators that we're going to be using in the if statement, the not equal to operator. Okay, a very, very important operator, not equal to operator. The next one is the less than or equal to. And the last one is greater than or equal to. So these are the mathematical operators that you would normally use in maths, but in Delphi, these are the equivalent operators. Your equality operator, not equal to, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Let us have a look at a flow diagram using the if statement. If the condition is true, I will execute the code. If the condition is false, I will come out of my if statement and execute code after the if block. Let's now look at some code using Delphi. This is a simple example of how to explain the if statement. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to enter an integer number and I'm going to check if the number is positive. Let's go. Let's create a variable quickly. I'm going to call it inum. Inum is going to be your data type integer. I'm going to get a value using the edit box. So edt num.text. Because it is a number and I'm getting a value from a t-edit, I want to convert it into an integer. Remember, a t-edit enters a value as text and I need to convert it from string to int. Using the if statement, I'm going to check if inum, the number that the user is going to input, if that number is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, I want to put in a message. If it is greater than 0, I want to put in a message, show message, and I want to put in a message, number is a positive number. Okay, so you can write an if statement with no begin and end, but it is very highly recommended that you do put a begin and end. Okay, apologies for that. Well, in Delphi coding, you're always going to be making mistakes. You're always going to be correcting your code, and sometimes it's nice when you actually make a mistake. So sorry about that. So let's put in a begin and end. The statement will execute if there's no begin and end, but I prefer teaching using a begin and end. So what happens in the if statement, if there's only one statement, there's no need for the begin and end. But if there are compound statements, there's two statements within the if, you must have a begin and end, or else it'll only execute the first statement. So after this if block, I want to put in some message again. Let's use a show message, and let's put in probably goodbye. And let's see how this works. Let's run it. Okay, so let's enter an integer number, and I'm going to enter 14. Check if 14 entered is a positive number. It's going to tell me number is a positive number. So basically what it's doing, the user entered 14, it's checking if 14 is a positive number, it executes the code in it, which is number is a positive number. If I click OK, it means I've now ended the if block, and it will display goodbye. Let's look at an alternative test case scenario. If the user entered a negative number, negative 14, I click on that. So you can see in this example, if inum, which is negative 14, is greater than 0, it does not execute the statement inside the if, because the number is less than 0. It goes out of the if block and it displays goodbye. Thank you, learners, for listening.